Alright, it's not been that long since the last Lusca video, but we're doing another one regardless. And that's mainly just because it's such a rarely seen pet, and I think it's quite fun when you actually get it working. So the first build is going to be slightly easier to put together than the second, I think. But both of them are going to involve Lusca. And now the ability for Lusca is to reduce the attack and health of an opposing unit by spending mana. And yeah, it's a little bit limited compared to some of the other mana spending pets. I think in general you're just better taking Cali Greyhound and not being too bothered about reducing the attack on the opposing pets. As we kind of waste this level 2 frog here, making a very modest swap onto the flying fish from the Sphinx. Still worked out not too bad though. Unfortunately, the Sphinx then immediately gets swallowed by this Goblin Shark. Goblin Shark, a unit that has been pretty massively buffed in recent updates, although still not too many people play it. But we win regardless. Flying Fish is really just that good early on. And we're going to look for another Flying Fish. I guess I'll take the Sphinx to reset the toy, because if we do get the Flying Fish level up, then it'll be a nice little boost of stats. It looks like we're going to be in trouble initially here, I think. Yeah, we definitely are. Almost made it, but not quite. So we'll reset the toy and combine the stilts together. And we get two pets that we're interested in, both Amalgamation and Beluga, but I'm going to take the Beluga first. We only have one summon at the moment, and it's the Doggo, so taking the Flying Fish and the Amalgamation wouldn't make any sense, because you're not going to get both activations in one battle. Now we take the turtle level up and we get the Lusca. So we're going to put the Lusca inside the Beluga. And now you can see why we need the Amalgamation. Although actually we don't technically need it, but I do want to have it in the team. But the main goal I had with both of these runs was to try and generate as much mana as possible using Cyclops. So oftentimes I will take Cyclops as a temporary measure just to try and get the higher level units very quickly, but in this case we're going to keep it on the team and then make sure that we give the Lusca as much mana as possible, both from the Amalgamation and also from the Cyclops. So we'll have the Bonobo copy the Beluga because I want to have double Lusca. So here we go, we get 6 mana, which isn't very good, but I think it's still going to be good enough against this opposing Bonobo team. Yeah, just barely. So now we get our second Beluga, and now at this point we basically have the lineup set, and I just need to find more Luscas to put inside the Belugas and then level ups on the backline support units. I think in the original version of this build in my head I was going to end up having double Cyclops, but with the Amalgamation and the Flying Fish, we clearly don't have space. I suppose I could sacrifice one of the Belugas, but I think it's much better to have the two separate Luscas instead of just relying on one of them. As we lose our Cyclops anyway to not the game dev log here, looks like he's playing some kind of a tempo pack once more. I'm sure I sent him a screenshot privately of losing to one of his teams when I was going for this. So we get the Cyclops level up and the Flying Fish level up. Although Flying Fish isn't going to give the Lusca any more mana, it is going to give it extra stats. In fact, we faced back-to-back red dragons here. That was so unlucky. And I think we might be okay. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, we don't have anything in the second Beluga, of course we're not going to be okay. We'll go for the Amalgamation level, and look at this, we get Lusca in the leftmost slot. So absolutely perfect. And then we'll just freeze the second Beluga, which you can take next turn. Now, taking the level up on the Beluga will waste one of the Cyclops triggers, but there's not really anything we can do about that at the moment. If we had Gingerbread, it would be a different story, but we've got Melon instead. So now we're getting a lot more mana, and against this fairly weak-looking summon team, it reduces everything down to 1-1. And we're going to get to do the same thing again. Okay, maybe not quite, but definitely enough to get the win. And I guess the problem here is that because I've gone for the higher level Flying Fish, the front Lusca levels up twice, so we don't get any extra chocolate on the second Lusca. I think that's the problem. And I think we're going to be fine here. Yep, everything gets reduced down to 1 HP. And so we can scrape a win. Yeah, I don't need to... I guess I could buy equipment here. I should have probably just taken the cornucopia there, but instead, looks like I'm just rolling down for the level up on the Beluga. I'm not sure it's going to be necessary though, because we then face a raw scaling team. Someone going for the Questing Beast achievement. I think when you look at the stat reduction from Lusca, it just doesn't look as impressive as Cali Greyhound. Even though it is reducing a lot of stats overall, it's just much more stark when you're taking away a huge amount of health and the attack doesn't really matter too much. So we'll just take a quick look at this other run. This is the same build basically, but we're on turn 17 now with 9 trophies, 2 hearts. And I felt like this was a much stronger run in terms of, you can see we've got level 3 Amalgamation, level 3 Cyclops, and level 3 Flying Fish. And because the Cyclops is level 3, that means it will give chocolate to the second Lusca, I think. And look at this team. Egyptian Vulture plus the Bush Viper in the backline. And they also had Giant Squirrels, so unlikely to face a Giant Squirrel team this late, especially one that is actually synergistic. Yeah, looks like I'm going to go for equipment, but we don't get anything really useful. And I guess I take the mushroom instead of the popcorn and the Cyclops. Was there already a Lusca inside there? I'm not sure. I guess I should have paid closer attention, but we don't need chocolate anymore because the Flying Fish is going to level up the units anyway. And we don't actually want them to be level 3 as soon as they come out of the Lusca, otherwise the Cyclops won't give them any mana. And then we face this team for all the marbles, and I'm pretty sure we could have won this. Yeah, you can clearly see it was possible to win, but I think the random hits from the Luscas just weren't good enough. We needed to reduce the damage from the Lionfish. Alright, let's move on to the next build, which is going to be significantly different. Obviously we still need Lusca in the team, and we're definitely going to keep Cyclops, but the other positions in the team are up for grabs, so we're going to mix them up and create something slightly more interesting. Not that Beluga's not interesting. I think Beluga is just one of those units that is just so good. It often makes a lot of these more unconventional builds so easy to get in comparison. I guess just because you're getting that, that higher level, higher stat summon, but you're also kind of protecting that unit from opposing snipes, from opposing ailments. It's not without risks completely, but in general it's just a super strong pet to take in any custom pack. We level up into Cyclops here. Now this is a run obviously played on my phone, so we're looking at it on the replay system. Dolphin turn 5, of course. I keep meaning to like actually play a few sessions and try and do some statistics on the frequency of certain pets in customs. I would say, you know, turn 3 to 5. What are the most common tier 3s? Dolphin has to be one, if not the most common. Of course, it is free to play, but also the fact that you can pill Beluga to get it makes a big difference. And then we've got Hatching Chick as well. Hatching Chick is so common you would think it was free to play, but obviously it is not. Camel's another one that I feel like I see with an incredibly high level of frequency. And then, of course, in recent times, Owl has definitely been on that list too. Let me know what you think are the most common pets that you see in this game if you're playing standard customs. It's always interesting to get different perspectives on you know, what's common and what's not, because not everyone is having the same experience, of course. So we've acquired our alternative source of experience, which is the Leafy Sea Dragon, and probably one of the weaker pets in customs. I've done a video on it not too long ago as well. But I think there's just something fun about it, you know, the fact that it's so it's such an unusual effect. You know, there are hardly any pets in the game that remove themselves. We've got Moby Dick, which you rarely ever see because it's just for an achievement. And then there's also the Pygmy Seahorse on tier 1. But now you can see how this combo is going to work. We get the gingerbread on the Lusca, so the combination of the gingerbread and the Leafy Sea Dragon is going to give the Lusca some mana. But without the amalgamation, we're going to be generating significantly less mana overall. So we're going to have to hope that the team can really start synergizing in a pretty dynamic way for us to have a solid chance here. Now we did end up using the chocolate triggers there, but the Lusca still gets to level 3. And reducing stuff down to 1 attack or 1 HP, there's just something fundamentally fun about it. I guess it's because there aren't that many attack reduction pets, or at least there weren't before Danger Pack came out. And we've also acquired the other blue mana spender on tier 5, which is Namasu. And I think this unit absolutely destroys Lusca in terms of efficiency for, or value for money, or value for mana, I should say. As we actually lose here to the 4th position Oyster Mushroom. Pretty rare to see that. But yeah, Namasu is an extremely strong unit, I think, in comparison. Actually, all the rare mana pets coming out to play here. We've got a Hippocampus, although it looks like they're just going for the achievement on it. So there's not much synergy in sight. And again, the attack reduction comes into play. I think really at this point all we need is one more Namazu to get the maximum level 3. Although Cyclops only has a limited number of chocolates that it can dish out, it can keep giving mana indefinitely, which is incredibly useful. It didn't used to be like that. You know, it only had a limited number of triggers where it would give away chocolate and mana. Incredibly good round there. We're already getting the 50-50 doggo, starting from just having the level 1 Namazu. And then look at this, I buy the blueberry onto the Leafy Sea Dragon, which is going to remove itself. And the next opponent is Dolphin with Pineapple. We don't get a very good spread of hits there from the Lusca stat reduction. But with a 50-50 doggo, turn 14, and a decent amount of disruption, it's still a pretty comfortable win for the double Cyclops, Lusca, Namazu, Sea Dragon team. And then lastly, we've just got this one extra clip. I thought this was quite a funny round. We face this Vampire Bat Parrot team, and the small one pops out of the Beluga, but the doggo comes in and the one attack on the units at the back line aren't going to be enough to deny us the victory.